What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So I have a quick update here. I am actually deciding that I am going to stick with Canon for now. I previously did a video on switching to Sony, but I'm going to stick with the Canon RF mount, and I'm going to go through a few reasons why, kind of what I have here. I'm shooting this on the 16mm 2.8. I have never used a wide angle lenses this before, so I have no idea if I'm actually going to keep it or what I'm going to do with it. But I wanted something a little bit wider than 35, and I can't afford a 24mm 1.4 EF lens right now, so I found the 16mm for $299, which is its retail price. Finally found one in stock, so we're going to give it a try. If I don't like it, I'll sell it and save up for the 24. So a few reasons why I did not switch. For one, I went to a Best Buy and messed around with the Sony a7S III, which is the same exact body as the a7 IV. I was going to get the a7 IV and the 35mm 1.4 G Master lens, but I'm decided to give Canon a little bit of leeway. I'm going to give them another year. I really love the Canon R6 body. It is... I think it's miles above any of the Sony bodies out there, in my opinion. Lenses, I prefer the Sony lens options because they have more variety, but Canon has a ton coming out soon. They've been rumored for a 35mm 1.2. I really would prefer a 1.4 to save a little bit of money and weight, but that will probably be the lens that I buy when it comes out that I will use 95% of the time. But they did do a bunch of patents recently on some 1.4L lenses. I believe it's 24, 28, 35, or no, 50. I think all those, maybe a 40. I don't know. There was like 5 or 6 that they had that they just did patents on. Maybe a while before they come out, but I'm going to stick with this mount for now, and a few reasons. For one, I really like... I don't know if I totally like it, but they seem to have 2 routes that they're going with their lenses. 50mm 1.2 we have right here, which is a beast of a lens. It is probably one of the better 50mm 1.0 lenses out there. I'm not the biggest fan of 50mm focal length, but I love this lens. The images I've got off of it are some of the best ones I've ever had before in my life. So I really, really love that. And it saved us probably about $600 or $700 because we like to do family photos. We like to do photos of our toddler, and if we had to hire a photographer, that's probably around what we would spend for our family beach photos that we recently did, and for anything along that line. So it's saved us a little bit of money just in that. And I recently picked up the Canon RF or EF to RF mount, so that will be able to allow me to do a few options. So at some point I'll get a 24mm 1.4 lens, either a Sigma or a Canon, preferably the Gen 1 version because I mainly use it for video and a little bit of travel stuff. I like it, that focal length, using it from time to time. So this will give me a budget option. The Sigma 24 1.4 you can get pretty cheap, like under $500. I've seen them multiple times on a few forum sites that I use when I usually buy my stuff at. The Canon ones are a little bit more expensive, but I have that for that. And then I have my 50mm. Until the 35 1.2 comes out, then I will sell this, buy that, and I'll have this adapter here. I'll have that 35, 24. I don't know what I'm going to do with this 16 2.8. And then I can also get... I would love to have the Canon RF 70 to 200 2.8 IS, but it's too expensive, too heavy. So I'll probably get the Canon 135mm f2, which I've owned before in the past, and it is a darling of a lens. And you can get it between $600 and $700 pretty easily if you shop around. I've seen some for around $550, $500 if they have a few cosmetic issues, but still work fine. So that's my kind of thought on the Canon RF system. I just wish they had a little bit more lens options, which is not their fault. They're new to this game. A $300 lens and a $2,300 lens. I wish there was more, kind of like they had with the patents they just released. 1.4 L glass professional lenses that don't weigh as much as this, but still have a little bit of character. The 35mm 1.8 IS for the RF mount, I just found that it did great for imaging. It was a little slow to autofocus when tracking a toddler, and it just wasn't, I think, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but I didn't think it was special at all how this 50mm is. Same with the 35 RF 1.4. That was a darling of a lens. It had a ton of character to it, and I really, really loved that lens. If it came out with a version that mounted easily without using an adapter, I would probably go that route, but I'm going to keep this lens until something else comes out. So that's my general thoughts. Will I change my mind in a month? Hopefully not. Supposedly my wife says I have to keep the stuff for a year and see what happens because she's tired of me changing systems, which is fair enough. Would I be happy with the Sony route? Probably not. I'd probably be happy with the lenses, but I don't think the body. I had the Sony A7R4 and I hated the body. Autofocus, image quality, video quality, lenses were all great. I just didn't like using the camera. It was too many buttons, too much customizability. I didn't like how it felt in my hand. I didn't like the rear LCD screen or the EVF. The rear LCD screen on Sony's is a huge step down compared to Nikon or Canon systems, especially when you get into like the R5 and the Nikon Z6 II. Those are excellent, excellent LCD screens, which I use most of the time for my images. I just find it's easier when running around trying to track a toddler around. So that's it. That's my general thoughts. Honestly, you really can't go wrong with any of these systems. I think Nikon, Sony, Canon, even Panasonic, they all have, even Fujifilm, they all have a good base ground and idea of who they're going at and who they're not going at. They all do great photo, video. I don't think any of the systems, any of the full frame ones out there have an edge up when it comes to photo quality. I think they all have very good photo quality, very good video quality, slightly different settings. I prefer Canon C-Log versus Sony's S-Log. The S-Log with Cinematone, or the Cinematone on the new A7 IV may be something that I may look at just to see what it's like. But I know how to grade C-Log pretty easily. I have their LUTs, Canon's LUTs already, so that's it. We'll see how it goes and go from there. If you have any comments, questions, leave them below and I will get back to you. Have a good rest of the day, weekend, whatever it is out there, and I'll see you guys next time.